So I'm going to begin this discussion on names. And I'm sure you'll hear me talk about it more than once. But I changed my name. It's no secret. My name is Amy Infinity. And that is not my birth name. That is not my married name or my divorced name. That is my name. And I chose that name. And I chose it for a variety of reasons. It was my pen name. It was my pseudonym for, my performing, because I'm a singer-songwriter as well. But I chose to make that my name for a variety of reasons, because it was really more me than any other name. And I've changed my name a bunch of times because I've been married and divorced twice. So when it came time for me to kind of reclaim my identity after my second divorce, I could have gone back to my maiden name. But at that point in time, it was symbolic. It was something that I was starting to use more and more in my professional life. Not just the singing, songwriting, not just author and writer, but even in my horse world, I have, equine consulting as well. But on top of that, it was, becoming me, but at the same time, I started realizing something. And this is what I really want to talk about. And this is what I'm going to be talking about a lot more. Again, I've kept it no secret that I'm very much about empowerment and identity and claiming who it is that we really are. And I believe there are certain ones of us that have particular challenges that are unique to our situation. And that is for lifestyle, that is for gender, and that is a lot of, how we identify ourselves as a culture, as a society, is very much based on those kinds of things and what has been accepted as norms for years, for centuries. And one of the things that struck me as I was changing my name for my own personal reasons to a more empowering name, to something that felt more me for family circumstance, but also because I was not my husband's anymore. I was not my ex-husband's. I was not my father's. I was me. That was not to be, in any way disrespectful. But what I have come to realize that really kind of struck me is we as women, or also non-binary, but we are never fully our own name as a female. Now think about that for a second. We're always our father's name or our husband's name. Now that's even if we keep our maiden name. And even if we take our mother's maiden name, that is our mother's father's name. Okay? So think on that for a little bit there. And I am, like I said, I like to be respectful and respect traditions. And, even lineage and family history and that kind of thing. So I don't knock on anybody who wants to take their husband's name. But one thing that really struck me, though, is how deep-seated, and I do a lot of work with, kind of not undermining, but kind of getting under some of the toxic conditioning that we have had in regard to identity and seeking our best lives and allowing ourselves to have joy. But one of the things that I think we, gender-wise and identity-wise, we don't really talk about very much is, we do on the feminist forefront of female empowerment and gender identity, and at the same time, nobody's really come out very loudly to say that one of the deepest-seated things in our culture and society, and this is throughout the world. In most societies, we have patrilineal, like we have descendants and names that come through male descendants. And that has just been the way of it throughout history. Now, to me, we are looking at obviously a lot of indoctrination and a lot of cultural and societal norms that kind of keep women and non-binary individuals kind of down or oppressed or kept out of the mainstream, or lesser pay, inequality, a lot of these things. But one thing that I feel like psychologically we don't really address is this, is the idea that our very names are always through the male line. Think about that. Like, how does that, what signal does that send ourselves and our daughters and just society as a whole? Like, the fact that we can't somehow flip that or knock that on its head or somehow change that overall, or at least even the playing field. And so what I feel is one way to do that is to determine our own names as women and start a matrilineal line. Why not? And I mean, again, this is a unique decision to everybody. This is not in any way meaning I love men, and so I don't mean to disrespect anybody. But the fact that from childhood, it is just so accepted as just the way we do it. But why? Why do we do it that way? Worldwide. Why is it always through the male line? Or not always. There are some cultures that are matrilineal, but most names are adopted through the male line. So one way I believe that we can start feeling more empowered and feeling more like we are starting out and starting with our daughters believing in the fact that we are all equal. Well, for those who feel the call to do so, why don't we start those matrilineal lines? Just a thought. Now, I am calling this a part of something that I will reveal here soon. I don't want to overwhelm right now, so stay tuned for that. Okay, love you.